So I had a very interesting thought this morning.
Yeah.
I was driving to Vredenburg and there was a local radio station playing, and this lady had this competition and she had won quite a big amount of money.
Yeah.
And she was deeply touched. She was ecstatic, over the moon, and I'm listening to this and you could just sense that energy coming from her. And what was very interesting is that the thought that in that moment crossed my mind was, because it is quite a bit of money that she had won. But what I thought was, I wonder, this money is obviously making a huge difference in her life, as it would to anyone.
Yeah.
But the thought that crossed my mind was, I wonder what are the things in her life that would make, that if it was, I don't want to say fixed, at the lack of a better word, that didn't need money, if it was fixed, what would the money evoke that excitement and joy and absolute exhilaration? And I thought, what are the situations in life that would cause that, in my own life as well, that would cause that sense of exhilaration that money can't fix?
Yes. Yeah, that's fascinating. I think that is a great place, is the thing is like the things that money can't fix. Because I think for a lot of people, I think money would be a fantastic solution for what they think are most of their problems.
Yeah.
But I do remember somebody said, one coach once who works with like really wealthy people, where he says like he experienced them as still, everything's still not perfect.
Yeah.
And once money has solved all the stuff, the normal day-to-day stuff, then it's that opportunity to reflect on self and like, you know, what's happening with me.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think for us, that's probably a big part of our work in Unboxed. Is that question, is like, the unboxing is not opening a box somewhere else. It's opening like the black box, you know, like the airplane. It's that thing, that messages that's being recorded. I also love, one of my friends always says like, you should be conscious about the voice that you hear the most. And if I take the amount of time I'm speaking to myself, it's probably the most vivid conversation every day.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is that conversation about?
Yeah.
And I think Unboxed is actually taking that conversation which happens in silence, or at least in our heads only, and say like, okay, let's put that conversation as a topic for discussion.
Yeah. Giving it a voice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's that thing about, again, it's that conversation where through like various groups in the past, actually as a spiritual wisdom, developed this thing of contemplating death. And for me, I very often find that even, so I get it intellectually, you know, that we're going to die, that there's an end date, it might be today. But sometimes I wonder if I really get it.
Yeah, and one of my children said yesterday, I just don't want to think about that. Most of the time I don't want to think about that. And I think that's a reflex that we all have. And then I said, but you have to think about it, because it will happen. That's the only thing that you can be sure of. But I don't also know if it's in a way protecting us from the enormity of the event, the fact that we can't comprehend. I remember when my father died, and I wrote, at that time I used to journal a lot.
Yes.
And the concept of never seeing him again, never speaking to him again, never hearing his voice again. I could sit for hours trying to just try to comprehend what never means never say never, never again. I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to go there. And when my dad died, never. That it's like what we just said now. We all know we're going to die. So it was easy before my dad passed away to say, I will never do something. But when my dad died, the word never got a whole new meaning for me. It's really never. It really means never, but how long is never? Never doesn't end.
Yeah.
It doesn't never again.
Yeah.
There's no end to it.
Yeah, no.
And that's the same as you will die. You can't comprehend it, but you will.
Absolutely. It is such a... I think there's, for me, and we're contemplating an event around just the practicality piece. Because I think for a lot of people that might be an easy place to start. It's like, so do you want to be buried? Or do you want to be cremated? Or
Cremated, definitely.
Or do you want to be buried in a forest somewhere? Or because I also look at, for instance, just in our town, like the state and the surrounding towns, like the state of cemeteries. It's really, it feels like a place that's just been forgotten somewhere in time.
Yes, definitely. About 3 years ago, I just had this crazy thought one day, driving up Durban Road, that I was going to stop at the graveyard and go visit my grandfather's grave. He died when I was in primary school.
Fascinating.
Yeah, and I just thought, I'm doing this. And I didn't tell anyone. And I drove there, and I walked in the graveyard, and I couldn't find it. I had quite a good idea of where, and someone else that we knew was buried just one row below him. That's how soon after that row was filled. And I couldn't find it. I literally couldn't find it. It was like, I mean, I hadn't been there in years.
Yes.
But the exercise of going back there, revisiting where that little girl had gone when I was, 12 years old, with the whole family and all the dynamics of a family, my gran, that was quite something.
Yeah.
And quite a profound thing to walk amongst those graves all by myself. I felt quite peaceful.
Yes.
But I don't know if that's normal. For us, maybe it is. On the topic of wanting to be buried, I have to tell you this. I don't know if maybe our viewers don't know this. I don't know. I only recently discovered this myself.
Yeah.
And it was in preparation for one of our events, where someone told me the story when her husband passed away. I can't remember if I actually told you this.
Oh, okay.
That, so I was telling this client about the practicalities of dying and what this event was going to be about. And then she said, well, the simplest thing, when her husband died, she didn't know that what's it called, a casket, comes in different sizes, and that her husband was actually a little bit too big for the one that she had chosen. And they phoned and said he won't go into the casket. And she said, well, then just push hard. So, we laughed about it at the time. I don't know if it's funny, but there's always humor to be found within these dark corners of the box. And I mean, just on a practical level, to start there. I mean, did you know that if you overeat, you're going to cost your family
a little bit more?
Yeah,
it's the same. It's like there's, I think in the UK somewhere they have this festival, and one of it's actually, I love the name. It's called Pushing Daisies.
Yeah.
And they have this thing where there's a little process where people paint their own caskets.
I would love that. I would love to do
But it's like, it's, I think in the standard way of thinking, it's not even something that I think most people consider. Because they like, whoever the funeral or the undertaker, there's like a choice A, B or C. But what if, and again, I think it's an interesting place to start thinking about death. It's like, so what do you want to happen in that moment when you passed away? Because for me, the flip side of that, and the question that's arising is, do we live our lives in a way that allows people to say good things of us when we're no longer here? Because there's always this expectation that people will only say good things of you when you pass away. And I'm quite curious what informs us in kind of the way that we want to live. And because it's that thing, and I think maybe it's also an opportunity to speak about it like living wax. Because I think it's always so sad when you see funerals and everybody just sings the praises of this person. And I wonder whether people got to hear that while they were still alive.
That's beautiful. And it touches my heart deeply. I have a friend who recently passed, and I wish we had done that, but I wish even just I had done that. I don't know why we don't do it. Maybe because by doing that, both sides had accepted that this is the end. Acknowledge that. And I think maybe for some people there is a part where that's like giving up hope. I don't know. Yeah. But can we rewind a little bit? Because I had another thought about the painting of the pushing the daisies in the casket. So my first thought was, if you had to paint your casket, and you don't have to share.
No,
what is the first thing that pops up? What would you put on your casket?
So I can jump in immediately.
Yeah.
So I actually watched a little or something probably on the phone as I strolled, about a lady in France who still hand makes pastels.
Yeah.
And it's they roll, so they get the coloring, what do you call it? The pigment.
Yeah.
And they mix it, and they make, so it's like really, really expensive pastels, but they get like shades of certain colors that only they make.
Yeah.
And when I saw this one, so when you asked that question, the first thing for me is like, I would love, she showed this most beautiful blue, and I'm like, I would love to have that as a base layer for whatever's on there. Because
is
it's
blue
like,
your favorite color?
Sometimes.
Okay.
But this blue there was just something like really special about the color. And for me, it is also the way that the pastels were made. Because like each little pastel had they have a little, like an imprint that they hand press on every single pastel. You know, and for me, and maybe that's what it is. What excites me about that is like the care that person took to make that little pastel. And maybe that's my desire, is to, if I had to paint my own casket, there's something about wanting to take care of that person. Yeah, so that's my initial thing. Yeah, to yourself.
That's beautiful. So I would probably do a few apologies on the outside that I didn't get to do while I was alive, maybe.
Yeah.
That way I would know that it had been said. How interesting is that?
Yeah, how fascinating.
And I haven't thought about this until now.
Yes.
My goodness. And then I thought, when you mentioned living wakes, I thought, what if you got the people in your life to paint your casket while you're still alive? So it's there, it's always there. Whenever they pop in for a coffee, the paint is there. Add something to it. I wonder what they
Can you imagine the lounge setup where there's a casket on the side?
Where did that come from? But that was a thought that I had. What would it, and how would these two look different? No? Because we have completely different experiences
But-
of each other
Yeah.
as of self.
Absolutely. But I do think what I love about that is it's for me like a beautiful image of life, is that our story is evolving all the time. And somebody's in our life for a moment or a month or years. And what if we had a visible contribution of them to our lives? And vice versa.
Yeah, and what their experience is in that little small window, however big it is in the space of your life.
Yeah, sure.
Because everyone, I mean, my mom's relationship to me is different to your relationship to me. And the way you experience me is completely different. And how that would color a casket.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Because I think I'm just linking back to that living way. Because when you spoke, I also had that idea. It's like maybe it's an invitation for me today to say the good things, because we very often assume that people know what we think about them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm not going to praise you every day for certain things.
Because I assume that you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I think, my assumption is that you know. But I think it can have a tremendous effect on any relationship if we just share those things that we really appreciate or really see.
Well, we are quicker to share the things that we don't appreciate.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, that's the reality.
Absolutely.
So maybe that's where the invitation to this work, where the shift comes.
Yeah.
Is if I live with the awareness that everything ends, this is going to end, do I then choose in every given moment to focus on that which I don't appreciate about you, or do I prefer to share what I do love and appreciate?
What a different world.
Yeah.
What a different world.
And what a different experience of the world do we create by just switching that one thing.
I think, and it's as a thought is the word that comes to mind is that sense of gratitude, actually. And I think I also see it in the grief ending circles, is that at the end of it all, what remains is actually gratitude.
Yeah.
Even beyond grief, there's this place of, I call it's gratitude, but it's acceptance. It's about spaciousness. It's about possibility of what is, and I think we both agree on that, but it's this thing, it's like, grief is a gift. It's a gift that allows us to really get to grips what we really love.
Yeah.
You know, and it's love about the world and people around us, but also about ourselves. You know, what are the places in ourselves that are not grieved, and therefore also they're not appreciated. You know?
Yeah. I heard a quote this morning. I'm thinking now if it's Buddha, but I think it was by Yogananda, who explained the gratitude in the sense of that we as a daily practice, I must have gratitude and I must be grateful. But what if we bring it back to the breath, and we bring it back to each and every single breath, in-breath, is I'm grateful for this breath. And exhaling that gratitude into the universe, because of this breath, I'm having this experience.
Yeah, wow.
And within grief, within joy, within every single moment, if we can just break it down and bring it back to just that, every in-breath, gratitude, every out-breath, gratitude for this breath that allows me to experience this human experience.
Oh, beautiful. It's that super appreciation of this life.
Yeah.